Welcome to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage. Today we're going to be looking at Bitcoin. Let's get into price action and see what's good. So primarily what we were looking for was the fact of actually forming a triangle in this zone. And what we were looking for was the potential that we could actually have an E-wave completed into this high here and looking to actually break down now for another leg to the downside. Now, if we were looking for this as a one-to-one move to the downside, what our target would actually be this 25.943 area. So that would be our one-to-one, looking at this as an A, B, and a C wave to the downside. Now, there are a couple of ways we can still look at this as potentially being, incomplete as a correction. Now, we were talking about the potential of having this as a bigger triangle here, but the problem is we actually came down and we took this B wave low. So, it's starting to become less reliable looking at it in this way. We could potentially argue that, you have something like this A, B, and then all of this is C, then this would be a D wave, in which case you protected this B wave high here. But it's not the best way of looking at it, in my opinion, but we'll have to just keep an eye on it anyway. If we get a three-wave move to the upside here that faces rejection, and then we start to break down in a five-wave structure, that would be my next best interpretation of this. Now, an area of interest for this as a potential breakdown zone, if this E falls short, would actually be here at this 29025 to this 29090. So I'm still going to be keeping an eye on this. It just is less reliable at the moment. We did come down to this one-to-one here. We were looking for that potential of an ABC up, which didn't develop. And rather what we have here is a triangle where we have A, B, C, D, and E. And then we start to break down from this point where this would be 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, and then 5 to the downside. Now, once again, as always, we need to be aware until we actually start taking some of these swing highs here. We can't rule out invalidation. It is possible that this could be breaking down in a bigger way. And where I'm counting this as a triangle, we might have something like this as a diagonal with a flat correction as a wave 2, in which case this is all still wave 3, 4, and then 5. And then what this would mean is that, we still got some extension to the downside. So the key zone that we're looking to keep an eye on here, if we are looking to extend out, would actually be this level here of this 26,777. If we start to break down below this level, it could actually indicate that we're in a five-wave move. So we need to just be aware of that. If we start to continue to break down here, potentially we could see a move into this zone. Now, like I said, I'm looking out for that potential of a three-wave move to the upside for an E-wave in this way of looking at the triangle. What we'd want to see is either a retest towards the top of this trend line here, or potentially coming back into this zone here of this 29090 to this 29025. So what we'd be looking for, five-wave structure to the upside. Now, I would also be cautious, just we have this trend line, which was giving us a couple of touch points for support here. What I'm going to be mindful of is if we come back and back test this, fail to actually get back above this, what we could actually do is actually just use this as an additional area where we get a rejection, and this could look to extend out where this becomes another 1 and a 2 here. So need to be just a little bit careful of that. Currently, this is sitting towards that zone of that 50% of the move to the downside. So that would actually come in towards the zone of this 28, 330 area. And then obviously we have some other key levels here. The 786 would be up here towards this 28,765. And then we have that 618 here towards this 28,508. So keep an eye on those levels if we do start to move to the upside here. And we actually fail to develop an E wave up. What we could get is just a three-wave move up here, and then actually what we have is this is another 1, 2 here, and then we look to break down. So we need to just be cautious. Really, until we actually start taking some of these highs, we need to just focus on the possibility that we could still see that downside continuation. Now, there is another way that we can potentially look at this move, and where it's actually been a triangle in the opposite direction, basically. And what they would be looking at is actually something more like this, where what we have here is this is an A, B, C, D, and then actually this is our E wave to the downside, in which case we did break the C wave low, but we did reverse and come back into the zone now. Now, if this is the case, what I would be looking for is that potential still to actually get a push to the upside here, where this becomes A, B, and then we get the C wave to the upside. Now, that C wave one-to-one would actually be this 30,806. So if we start to develop a five-wave structure to the upside here, this could actually be a zone that we look to retest. Now, As a rejection zone, what we're typically looking for here would actually be between this 30,371. That would be our 0.854. So, we really wouldn't want to come too much higher than this, but this 1-to-1 is up here. So I'd be keeping an eye on some of these higher zero areas here, this 30,083, 30,371 area that could actually have, there's a couple of resonations here between the different counts where we could actually see this 30,371 be quite an important level if we do move back to the upside. So this is the one way of looking at it, looking at that potential of a triangle in the middle here. But yeah, like I said, until we actually start to break back above some of these key levels, we need to just be careful that we don't just continue to extend out to the downside. Now, another way that this could still be in a corrective move that still needs to push to the upside would be if this is still not completed as a bigger WXY. Now, this would be a much more complex move because we'd have this as a W wave, this is an X wave, and then potentially looking at this as a flat correction for a C wave. Now, if this is the case, what we could start to see here is a 5-wave move developing to the upside. Now, the typical zone we would look for this as a C wave here would actually be this 31,132, which would actually bring us above this high. But we do have some other areas here, particularly this 30,619 area is a 1-to-1 of this as a W wave, an X wave, and they're looking for this Y wave. So this is also another area of interest if we do look to push up here. 30,253, also around that 30,300 level. That could also be, a zone that we actually could look to back test here if we do start to break to the upside. So now this would still tie into that bigger idea of looking at this move as a bigger move to the downside, looking at an A, a B, and a C. So primarily what we're still looking for is this as an A, this is a B, and then looking for this C wave to the downside. So, we can argue that we've completed into here as a B wave triangle and we're starting to break down. We just don't have good structure as a C wave at the moment, but this can always develop as we go along here. So this is what we need to just be aware of here. The bullish counts we were looking at yesterday have invalidated because we actually came down too deep. We were looking at that potential that, what we could see is here as a wave 1 and a 2, and then looking to push up, but we actually lost the low. So that invalidates the possibility of this extending out from here. You know, there is still some potential that you could have something like this as a wave 1 and a 2, but the duration that the wave 2 took it is quite large in comparison to how long this move to the upside was. But yeah, really would have to see a move up above this zone here of this 32,000 for a confirmation of that. So it's the least likely, in my opinion. I am still looking for that potential to come down one more time. That would make the most sense to me. So if we are going to start to break down from this point, what we could actually have we've actually rejected off this high here and we're looking for continuation. Now, the zone of interest here that we'd be looking for would be this 26,866. This would be a typical third wave area. So if this continues to extend out to the downside here, what we could see is this play out where we actually get a deeper move towards this 26,866, develop a fourth wave and additional fifth wave, which could actually look to bring us down here towards this 26,659 to this 26,334 area. Now, that 1-to-1 we were looking for is actually lower down here at this 25,943. So what we need to just be aware of is this could still look to break down into some of these lower areas. Even this 25,200 area wouldn't be off the card, in my opinion, just because of it being such a key level here. Yeah, I mean, we can still look to break down directly. We need to see whether we can manage to actually break back above some of these highs, because what we could then have, is that we could be seeing something like this, where this has become 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We get a 3, 4, and a 5 here. And then we have, some additional layers that within this. It is also possible, within here, we could even be developing something like this as a 1, 2, another 1, 2 here, and then we break down in a bigger way. So really, until we start to break some of these key levels here, we need to just be careful of extension. So any kind of three-wave move to the upside that gets a rejection is always going to be giving us the possibility of extension. So what we want to see here is, holding this level if this is a completed move down here, and we'd want to see this start to develop, a 5-wave move to the upside. And if it's going to be a zigzag, it would be basically two 5-wave moves. Like I said, either potentially looking for this 29,000 zone or the top trend line, or if we're going to develop, that bigger 5-wave move to the upside, what we'd want to see is this move actually come back and take out this level here, this 29,168. That would be a zone we would want to see this take out if we are looking for that, that reversal to the upside in a 5-wave move. But really, until we actually take back above this high of this 30,996, I would still be focused on lower here. Now, this is going to be key if we are looking to stand out and potentially forming an additional one to this 28,765. We need to get back above that as a very key level here. So we're going to have to just give it a bit of space and see how it plays out here. There are some direct sell-off options here. If we manage to break down and continue this move to the downside, 26,866 would be the zone I'm looking for a third wave here. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video, and leave us some feedback down below. Also in the description, you'll find a link to Discord. Come check it out. It's free to join. As well as that, you'll find affiliate links for both Primax, BT, and BYBIT down there. Both great exchanges we use on a regular basis. Check them out for yourself if you don't have an account. Using the affiliate link does help support the channel, and we do appreciate it. Everyone have a great day. We'll see you in the next one.